What's up, everybody? Matt Murphy here again for StickLibrary.com. Welcome back. I'd like to welcome you to another lesson in our beginning drum series. And this one is going to be on stroke mechanics. And by stroke mechanics, I mean what we're doing to facilitate the stroke. I want to talk about the playing area. I want to talk about different types of strokes. And then I want to talk about little basic music theory, little basic theoretical things that we think about when we're playing music, and really the first thing to think about is how we count the music, count what we're playing. We're going to take a little bit of time right now to do a slight review on what we've already talked about, and that had to do with our fulcrum. Remember, got the pin going through the stick into our hands, we got the bumpers back here, it's resting nice in the palm of our hand. We're bringing our sticks up, and it's almost like we're on a kitchen table or a card table, not flat or parallel to the ground and not perpendicular to the ground, about a 45-degree angle. And we want the stroke to be kind of a whipping type of motion. Again, like that, kind of like bouncing a basketball. We don't want to tense and tight. We want to be nice and loose. It's kind of a whipping motion. Okay? So I'd like to talk real quick about playing area, and I touched on this in our previous lesson, but we really want to stay toward the center of the drum, as close to the center. In this particular application, we want to stay as close to the center of the drum as we can, and that's when you're going to get the richest sound, the fullest sound, and the most natural sound out of the drum. So we want to stay toward the center. Now, our last exercise, what I did was I went through a series of what I want to call eighth notes, okay? And eighth notes, basically you can remember this. Eighth notes are 8 notes within a measure of music. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Slower. Now, instead of saying the numbers 1 through 8, we divide them into numbers. So we're going to divide them or subdivide them into 4 sets of notes for a total of 8. And this is how we count it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's one measure of music. Again, 8 notes in one measure of music are called eighth notes. Okay? There's another grouping of notes that are a lower denomination, and there are another grouping of notes that we're going to talk about that's a higher denomination. Right now we're talking about eighth notes. So, if our count is here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we subdivide that, here's what you get. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Those are eighth notes. So that's how we count this exercise. Again, to review the exercise. 8 on your right, 8 on your left, 8 on your right, 8 on your left, and then a final note, okay, on your right hand. What we're going to go ahead and do right now is use a practice pad, which basically is just a rubber pad that is a silencer. So what I want to do is I want to silence the sound that's coming out of the snare drum so you can actually hear my count, okay? Then you'll be able to play along with me counting. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready and play, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. 2, again, and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. Take it a little bit faster, okay? We're going to speed it up a little bit. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1, 2. Again, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. A little bit faster. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Again and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. What I'd like for you to notice is I'm staying in the center of our playing area. Staying in the center of our playing area. I'm maintaining my fulcrum. I'm using kind of a whipping motion for the stroke with both hands. And again, we're using matched grip. So whatever you do with your right hand, you do with your left hand. Okay? The next thing I'd like to talk about, and we're going to do the exact same thing counting-wise, we're going to go into one stroke per hand. Okay? So this is another exercise, a new exercise for you. And basically what this is called is a single stroke roll. And like the title dictates, it's one stroke per hand. So same thing. We're going to maintain the fulcrum, nice whipping motion, okay? And whatever we play with our right, we're playing with our left. We want to get them to sound as close to the same as possible, okay? So here's your first rudiment. It's a single stroke roll. We're going to go right, left, right, left, right, left, okay? I'm going to count you in. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. 2, again and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now what I want you to notice, this is another part of our stroke mechanics, okay? So I'm not doing this. Now watch. See how my wrist is all tense and tight and kind of stationary as far as the angle of my wrist? We don't want to use our arm. We want to use our wrist as much as possible, and that goes side and side with, or goes side by side with the whipping motion that I was talking about earlier. To do that whipping motion, we almost have to use our wrist, okay? So, what's happening is in slow motion, I'm coming up. See how my wrist is bent? When I come down, my wrist is going the other way. All right? So it's almost like you're a puppet, kind of, and somebody's got a hold of your strings. If there were a string on my wrist, I'd be doing this. And then they drop the string. Right? That's in slow motion, and I'm over-exaggerating. But that's basically what it is. So I want to show you this very slowly with both hands. Feel free to do it with me. And again, you want to be as loose as you can possibly be. You don't want any tension in your hands or arms or wrists or anything like that. Okay? So I'm not tense, I'm not tight, I don't have any kind of stress in my arms or my wrists or my hands or anything like that. You want to be as loose as possible. So again, let's do this exercise. Once again, it's called a single stroke roll. All that means is one stroke per hand. Okay? Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. I'll count you in. Feel free to play along with me on these exercises. That's going to help you. So feel free to play along. 1, 2, ready, and go. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 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 and 1. 2, again, and go. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 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 and 1. Now, another thing that I'd like to talk about very, very quickly is our starting position. Now, we've talked about wanting to play in the center of the drum. Okay? That will be our starting position. Now, the thing that I'd like to express to you right now is we're going to start about 2 inches off the drum head. That's our starting position. And we go up from there. Okay? But then when we come back to our starting position, or we end the exercise, we come back to the starting position. That's all it is. That's all there is to it. So, starting position. Then, in this exercise and in the previous exercise that we did, the 8s, I was using full strokes. And that's just as big of a stroke as you can really make. And feel free to over-exaggerate. What I really try to do is over-exaggerate my dynamic levels. I try to make my louds really, really loud, and I try to make my softs really, really soft. So instead of having a dynamic range here, we've got a dynamic range here. Okay? It just increases our dynamic range and makes us more of a musical drummer. So, and you know, I understand we're just working on one surface and we are working on a pad, but all of this is going to translate to the drum set. Okay? So, once again, I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. We're going to start in our starting position that we just talked about. We're going to use nice full strokes, and I'll see you at the end. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and play, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Here we go again. Ready, and go, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Last time. 2, ready, and go, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. This is Matt Murphy for StickLibrary.com. Thanks a lot for joining me on this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.